Alrighty, folks. One of the things that I love to do each week is talk with Stephen Dow from Velocity Mortgage because he is where you go when you can't get lending somewhere else. We affectionately call him Uncle Steve. We're going to
Uncle.
talk about some. We're going to talk about the Fast 50 today. But before we get into that, let's get the marketing shtick out of the way.
Thank you, sir. Although, again, I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital. All the ideas and topics discussed on this channel that of my own. So let's get it going.
Yeah, one of the things that we've talked a lot about the last couple of weeks is obviously the 90% CLTV, 50, 40, 10, all of that. So we'll skip that conversation today. I want to talk
Okay.
about the Fast 50. What is it?
Okay.
Who's it for? And when is that a good option for someone?
Perfect. Well, I've been seeing a kind of somewhat of an uptick in interest because of the ease of use with the product. We call it the Fast 50 for obvious reasons, as I will share. Mainly the fact that it's fast, obviously, but also the fact that you're capped at 50% LTV, but in return, there's no FICO score requirement.
Hmm.
Also, there's other, leniencies as far as guidelines as it pertains to mortgage rates or other derogatory credit. You can be 1 day out of bankruptcy. You can have multiple, short sales or foreclosures. Mortgages 150-day lates. All of that is accepted. The only thing you cannot have is the subject property cannot be in an active foreclosure. Otherwise, on residential, up to 2 million, no ratio,
Good
state
to go.
income, no DSCR. So if you're in a pickle and you can't get financing because of FICO score, but you got equity, just as long as the subject property is not in an active foreclosure, I can offer 30-year fixed money, and it's not that bad. You can actually
Hmm.
buy down to single digits with a 500 FICO score.
Wow. So again, I just want to make sure I understand this. So this could be for Fast 50 is for could be for a purchase or a refi.
Right, right. Well, for the purchase side, with bad credit, we can at least give you 50%, but you would still be allowed that 90% CLTV option. So if you found the right seller, right, and they had enough equity, then yeah, you can get a loan for 50%, put down 10, and they'll carry 40. So that would be obviously the ideal situation, but sometimes because of your credit level, that's all you can get. But if you got the right seller, you can make that happen.
Yeah. And then it's really interesting. The Fast 50 is you kind of when I kind of play within my head is really
Mhm.
out there for also for cash out refis, like people that for whatever reason just need the cash and they have the equity, but they have frankly, a horrible credit report.
Right.
And, sometimes, you know, uh, this option is better than not having it, right? Because the other option is you got to sell the property and maybe you're living in the property or, I don't know, maybe you want to give it to your heirs when you pass or something. But,
Right. Well, I've got a situation like that. There was a borrower that called in, inherited a property from his now deceased parents that had a reverse mortgage on it, and so there was a
ooh,
lot of derogatory kind of like history going on with that property. They're trying to foreclose on it, but since he inherited it, the derogatory mortgage history doesn't apply to him. So now we're able to refinance him right away, no ratio, and kind of pull it out of foreclosure. So that was a good option for somebody like that, given the
nice.
circumstance and the fact that we closed pretty fast. I'm doing a deal right now. I'm no joke. The loan was submitted yesterday. We were able to accommodate a rush. Appraisal was done already and submitted
Hmm.
today. The loan was
Wow.
just submitted. Just I know. We lucked out. We got an appraisal, accommodated a rush. Submitted the file yesterday. He did the inspection like 3 hours after we submitted it. Sent us the report today. Um, Value got cut a little bit, so it is what it is. But
Yeah.
we're basically able to close in 3 days, like from submission to docs.
Yeah. The Fast 50 is just that because the loan value is so secured. It
Right.
allows velocity to go much, much faster.
Well, again, the leverage position, yeah, and we're able to be a little bit more lenient just because, again, God forbid if anything's happened, we're probably not going to get
Yeah.
hurt.
You're not going to get
You know what I
hurt.
mean?
Yeah.
Right, right. So it's kind of like, yeah, we'll take a big risk because again, our equity position's not that too risky for us in the big picture. So if anything
Yeah.
goes sideways, but other than that, I mean,
I
it's
want to make
been
sure
well received.
I want to make sure. I think I said something earlier that is incorrect,
Hmm.
and I want to clean it up here.
Okay.
In order to get the Fast 50, it's still
Yeah.
like all other velocity mortgages. It's
Right.
non-owner occupied.
Correct. Correct. Thank you for reminding me or to clarify. This has got to be investment only. So on a 4 unit and under property, you cannot live in it. But
Yeah.
5 units or more, this Fast 50 applies as well. So multifamily, mixed use, or even straight commercial. with bad credit, I can do up to 50% LTV. Now, above a certain loan amount, the properties will still need the debt service on the commercial side, but on the residential side, 50% LTV up to $2 million, no ratio.
Yeah. So again, if you're house hacking a fourplex or below, this does not apply. But if you are house hacking a small apartment building like Arnold
Yes.
Schwarzenegger did back in LA, I think that was a
Hmm.
sixplex, this could work.
It could work. And actually, I had a past client who picked up a 5 unit, but they're all detached units on the same
Mm,
parcel. So it was
yeah.
like so in that type of situation, it would make it more uh comfortable to apartment hack in a sense because you're living
Yeah.
in a detached unit and you got
Yeah.
other separate like neighbors basically. So yeah, when you can find a nice setup like that, I think it's a much easier pill to swallow if you're trying to do apartment hacking because it's really not. It's just like house hacking, but you got four other neighbors on the same parcel.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then the other thing that we talked about earlier, which I still can't believe Velocity offers, is you could do the Fast 50 combined or in conjunction with the 90% CLTV. So you could do a Fast 50, get a
Right,
40% second from a seller, put 10% down.
right,
Think about this, have
right,
a 500 credit score, get a 90% loan, again, two
right,
different loans, 50 and 40,
right,
and you could
right.
get started in the real estate game.
Yep. You just got to do the work. I mean, it's not everything to everybody and it won't fit, a lot of situations, but when you've done the homework and everything lines up, man, it's just nice. I know that I keep trying to push that because I feel so good when it happens because it really is a win-win. The only
Yeah,
difference here is the seller gets some of their money delayed a little bit. Other than that, seller gets to sell now, gets to sell at their price probably, sometimes a little bit more. Buyer gets a property, can maybe cash flow from day one or at least 10% down. It's just, it
yeah.
makes sense. But yeah, it definitely helps when you have a little bit more flexibility as far as the features of the product. Because again, not only for somebody with good credit, but somebody with credit challenges can still get financing given the right circumstance.
Yeah. The other thing that's really interesting, just tie our Thursday conversations together. I opened this morning talking to Jonathan Twombly, and he's
Hmm.
talking about some bridge debt lenders, right? These
Right.
folks that started lending bridge debt 1 year, 2 year stuff in the multifamily space.
Yep.
All, all of their loans are
Yep.
underwater. He
Yep.
talked about a property in Miami that in 2018 was bought or sold for 10 million.
Yeah.
2022, it was sold for 20 million. The
Uh
debt
huh.
is 15. The property is only 80% occupied. The
Oh
value
no.
add never happened. Current value is 13.
Oh
Best
wow.
case, fully remodeled 17.
17.
So what
Right.
does all that mean? The equity
Hmm.
is gone.
Right.
The lender is going to take a haircut. And the reason I'm bringing
Hmm.
this up with your conversation is the pain is still coming. We
Right.
have a lot of folks playing in this short-term space that are holding
Hmm.
on with their fingernails, gritting their teeth.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
network, understand the tool. I really do think the 90% CLTV is going to be an option that people, once the market breaks,
Yep.
it's going to be very valuable.
Agreed. And I think in our particular space with the commercial properties, our loans were all long-term 30-year fixed loans on
Yeah.
commercial.
Doesn't matter, right?
So
Yeah,
they're a
exactly.
steady, steady Eddie, especially when I was screaming at the top of my lungs as low as 399 on commercial, which you took,
Oh, yeah. Many
advantage of.
times.
So
Many
all
times.
those people that like super Will, he just called me the other day too. Shout out to Will, 6 multifamilies, all 399,
Oh,
30-year fix. So sorry, don't
nice.
want to, yeah, I won't give out his
Don't want
last
to
name,
rub it
but
in, but we
he's,
tried.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he's looking like a genius. But man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think with us, we're not going to see as much
Oh, no.
fanfare, right, or pain, right? At least with our products, I think that's why Wall Street really loves our stuff. It's stable. It's 30 years. It's not no like 5 year fixed or even shorter. So definitely though, in some of the other space with the short term financing, bridge financing, and even
Oh,
conventional, commercial,
it's going
it's
to get
coming,
bloody.
man. 2025, bro. 1.5 trillion.
It's
Woo!
gonna be bloody. And again, where there's great pain, there's great opportunity. So please,
Oh
folks,
yeah, man.
you don't get ready when the opportunity happens. You get ready early. Get
Correct.
ready
Get
early.
right.
Do the work.
Don't get
Yes.
ready. Get right now because it's never the right time. It's now. Get right.
There
Get
you
your
go.
credit right. Get your finances right. Get your seed money right. And then you pick the right time. You pull the trigger. That's why
Let's
things
go.
happen the right way. Yep.
That's right. That's right. Stephen, man, you're amazing. If somebody wanted to reach out and see what's what with the Fast 50 or the 90% CLTV, 50, 40, 10, how do they do that?
Again, just email is usually the best. SDAO@velocitymortgage.com. In the subject line, please put the acronym ORAAT to make it past the firewall. Body of the email, maybe a brief description what you're looking for. Address would be really helpful, at least city and state to make sure I lend there, your mid FICO score, and the best phone number to reach you at. And typically, I'll be in touch within 24, 48 hours.
Folks, if you want to see what's what about the 50-40-10, go to a playlist called Deep Dive. There's a 90-minute video you can watch. Also, of course, reach out to sdow@velocitymortgage.com. Remember, only 5 letters in the subject line, ORAAT. This
Yes,
will be
sir.
the firewall. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir.